miss me? Do you love me? You don't miss me, you still love me.
Check it out.
Do you miss me? Do you love me? You don't miss me, you still love me.
Check it out.
Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. I thought I'd come along and do a Was It Better film versus book review, and today it's for My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. So I read the book first and pretty much immediately went ahead and checked out the movie on Amazon Prime. But I'm going to start off with just a general synopsis of, pretty much the similar plot between the book and the film. Talk about my book thoughts and then talk about my movie thoughts, and then kind of decide together which was better. So, general overview. On the back it says, high school sophomores Abby and Gretchen have been best friends since 4th grade. But after an evening of skinny dipping goes disastrously wrong, Gretchen begins to act different. She's moody, she's irritable, and bizarre incidents keep happening whenever she's nearby. Abby's investigation leads her to some startling discoveries, and by the time their story reaches its terrifying conclusion, the fate of Abby and Gretchen will be determined by a single question: is their friendship powerful enough to beat the devil? It also says, like an unholy hybrid of Beaches and The Exorcist, my best friend's Exorcism blends teen angst, adolescent drama, unspeakable horrors, and a mix of 80s pop songs into a pulse-pounding supernatural thriller. So I ended up giving this, I think, 4 stars overall. The book was such an entertaining read. I did blended reading for this one. I listened to the audiobook, which is currently free on Audible, as well as some more of Grady Hendrix books, whilst reading along. And yeah, I thought that was an enjoyable experience for me. The relationships, both toxic and pure, was such a fantastic study of just the high school experience and life in general, but obviously added in that sinister atmosphere with the whole possession plot, which kind of reminded me of Jennifer's Body midway throughout. I wouldn't say in terms of horror it was really that scary, but there was a particular scene with Good Boy Max the dog that made me feel sick. I felt like it just came out of nowhere, but once it was alluded to, I just, you just didn't want it to happen, but you couldn't not read on. Like, it made me feel ill. I don't really want to spoil what happens, I guess, but if you don't like animal torturing books, which I don't, maybe skip ahead that chapter or that scene. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that part, but other than that, it wasn't really like a super horrifying horror. I would have liked it to be more scary, I think. The manipulation of Gretchen as she became deeper consumed by her demon was really interesting to see, especially when no one else could see it other than Abby, her best friend, and everyone kind of switched the tables to make it seem like Abby was just jealous and kind of just turned everything against her and made her like a scapegoat for all the crap that was being plotted against the rest of the friend group from Gretchen. I thought the ending about friendship was really sad, but it was so true, and it wrapped up perfectly with the right amount of closure for me that I personally like my stories to do. So yeah, I think this is my second Grady Hendrix book, and I definitely enjoyed it more than my first one, which was Horror Store. I think I gave that one a 3-star back when I picked it up a couple of years ago. This one had more substance to it for me, but yeah, I enjoyed it. So on to the movie. Unfortunately, I didn't enjoy the movie near enough as I enjoyed the book. I ended up giving that one overall rating of 2 stars. It just wasn't as good as I hoped it to be, and I feel like what it could have been. I definitely enjoyed the book a lot more, so as I mentioned earlier, I pretty much went immediately into the movie to see how it compared, and I just really found it to be quite subpar. So much so, in fact, that for no reason at all other than I just wasn't feeling it at the time, I just switched it off like a third of the way in, put something else on, and then like maybe 5 days later decided to finish off watching it whilst I was doing my hair, because I thought, well, I've got nothing else to do, you know what I mean? And when you're thinking that way about a movie, it's not really gonna get any better, is it really? I think I possibly may have enjoyed it a little bit more had I not read the book first and had that kind of standard to compare it to. But it skimmed on so much detail. The detail that I'm glad it skimmed on, though, was that dog scene with Good Boy Max. That was completely removed, and I was happy about it. But they changed so much. Like, what happened to specific characters was switched around like unnecessarily. Certain characters were like altered in their character, personality traits and things like that, and it just didn't feel like a faithful adaptation. It was like unnecessary changes. I'm all about diversifying cast and character, and if anything is like pretty much one ethnicity for no reason other than they just didn't think to add various people in it, then go ahead and add that. I loved that about the movie. We had Margaret, who's biracial, we had LGBT plus characters, but they switched things that were important for that character in the book or a part of their personality trait and gave it to someone else like it was transferable. It was really bizarre, and I don't know why they did that. It kind of threw me off. Like there was the whole scene with brother, I can't remember his name, like a religious school they go to, and they, in the film, they made it as if it was Abby's was crushing, and they kind of had this whole story arc of that when it should have been Glee in the book. And there was a whole like build up, there was a whole thing in itself about how Gretchen manipulated this certain situation, and it just missed that whole thing out for no reason. And they couldn't really go to the extent they did in the book because they switched characters, and you still needed the majority of the scenes that you had with Abby because she's another main character. It just didn't work. I don't know how else to better explain it. It just didn't work. Like, why are you switching things when you don't need to, you know? On the surface, it's definitely a really cute, campy summer horror, but it lacked anything deeper for me, unfortunately. So in this round, I'm going to definitely have to say that the book was that much better. Let me know if you have read the book, or you've watched the movie, or you've done both, potentially what you've preferred. I would love to know. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in another video soon. Bye.
It's making me